All right, this is Unit 9, Guided Notes A. And basically, in this one, you're just adding and subtracting like terms. So let's take a look at Guided Notes A. It's only 4 examples. All of these notes in this unit are going to be 4 examples each. So we're on Guided Notes A. So hopefully you have sheet A in front of you. All right, this is sheet A. All right, the first lesson we're going to learn in Unit 9 is adding and subtracting polynomials. Now, polynomials just means one or more terms. You learned some vocabulary in the last unit. So what you need to remember is when you add, you drop or remove the parentheses and simply combine like terms. If you subtract, you remove the parentheses and distribute the negative, then combine like terms. So let's look at the first example. Hopefully you remember what 3 terms is. This is 3 terms plus 3 terms. What is 3 terms called? It's called a trinomial. What's degree 2 called? That's called quadratic. So see, these are both quadratic trinomials. Now for a plus sign, you simply drop the parentheses, and combine like terms. Now, like terms have to have the same variable, these are all x's, and the same exponent. So these two are like terms, I'll use circles. These two are like terms, I'll use squares. And these two are like terms, I'll use triangles. All right, so 5x squared plus 3x squared. If you remember your ladder, when you add and subtract like terms, you don't change the exponents. So 5x squared plus 3x squared is 8x squared. Then negative 8x minus 10x, you combine the numbers in front. That gives you a negative 18x, not x squared. You keep the exponents the same. And then 7 plus 7 is 14. So we added those 2 trinomials together and got a trinomial. Number 2, same thing. This is addition. So we're going to copy this down again, except we're going to drop the parentheses. All right, when you drop the parentheses, nothing happens. You just drop the parentheses. Now let's look for like terms. Notice 8x to the 4th doesn't have a like term to go with it. So what happens? You just bring it down. Now I like to cross that off because I did it. Now, I should do this in standard form, which means if I have to the power of 3, I should do that next. Notice here, all I've got is an x to the power of 3. It doesn't have a like term to go with it. So bring that straight down, and I'm going to cross it out. And once again, look, square, there's no square term down here. So this one also doesn't have a like term to go with it. So just bring that down. Cross it out. Now here, I do have an x term here, and I do have an x term here. Those of you that are real up on your vocabulary, those are called my linear terms because they don't have, the only exponent they have is a 1. These are called my linear terms. But 11x minus 12x is a negative 1x. You don't need the 1. And then my plus 15 goes with my plus 20. When I combine those, that's plus 35. Now, this answer is fine, but which is okay. It's totally okay. But I'm going to write it also. Now, I'm going to not write the 1. I'm just going to leave the 1 out. Call that plus 35. Okay, those are both correct. I'm just writing it again because you really don't need the 1. Now, subtract. What do you do when you subtract? Well, you are going to drop these parentheses. But when you drop the second set of parentheses, make sure you distribute the negative. That's a negative 1 if you need to put a number there. It is a negative 1. Negative 1 times x cubed is negative x cubed. Negative 1 times negative 8 is a positive 8x squared. A negative 1 times a positive x is a negative 1x. And a negative 1 times a negative 15 is a positive 15. So what did the negative do? It just changed all the signs behind it. Now here, I've got an x cubed. Let's look for like terms, and a negative x cubed. What does a positive 1x cubed do to a negative x cubed? Well, they combine and make 0x cubed. Let me sharpen the focus there. So they're gone. They cancel out. Now I've got a negative 6x squared and a positive 8x squared. When I combine a negative 6 and a positive 8, that's a 2x squared. Let me cross those out. I like to cross them out after I'm done. Now I've got a positive 8x. I'm going to put them in triangles. And a negative 1x. What's a positive 8 and a negative 1? That's a positive 7. And then finally, I'm running out of shapes. So I'll just have an arrow point at them, a positive 7 and a positive 15. That's a positive 22. Done. Now, number 4, the final example says subtract this from this. Whenever you have a subtract something from something, always start with the from. So you start with 8x squared minus 6xy squared minus x squared y squared plus 2y cubed minus 5x squared minus, I'm going to run out of room, 7x squared y squared plus 3x squared y, what a mess, minus 2y cubed. I had to do one messy one in here. So now when you have a subtract, you got to put them in parentheses. These actually have parentheses around them. You need to put parentheses, and we're going to drop the parentheses by distributing the negative sign. So let's write all this down. What a mess. 8x squared minus 6xy squared minus x squared y squared plus 2y cubed minus 5x squared. Minus sign is going to change all the signs. Remember, that's a negative 1 right there. Negative 1 times a negative 7. That's a positive 7 x squared y squared. A negative 1 times that's actually a positive 3. That's a positive 3. That's going to make that a negative 3x squared y. And finally, a negative 1 times a negative 2 is a positive 2y cubed. Take a deep breath. We drop the negative. We drop the parentheses and distribute the negative. Now let's look for like terms. All right. I'm just going to underline these. 8x squared is like terms with negative 5x squared. What's a positive 8 and a negative 5? That's a positive 3x squared. Let's cross that out. Let's see. Does the 6xy squared have a like term down here with it? No, it doesn't. That is not like terms because this one, the x is squared. This one, the y is squared. So that doesn't have a like term to go with it. So I'm going to cross that out. Now, minus 1x squared y squared plus 7x squared y squared, those are like terms. You combine the negative 1 with the positive 7, that's going to give you a positive 6. Let's cross those out. What do we have left? I'm going to save the 2y cubed for last. I'm going to put the negative 3x squared y next. I'm going to cross that one out. That didn't have a like term to go with it. And finally, the positive 2. One second. The positive 2y cubed is like terms with the positive 2y cubed. What does that make? Positive 4y cubed. So we're done. That one was messy. Now, what do we need to remember? I guess we need to remember that a minus in between, we have to distribute the minus. All right. That's something that you need to remember. If you have a minus in between, distribute the minus. Now, here's an example here. I want you to try it. I'm not going to work that one. I will make the answer available to you, but I'm not going to work that problem in this video. I'm going to let you do that yourself.